Thank you, Maxine. Fellow Toastmasters, imagine waking up to an aquarium of dancing fish. The sunlight barely creeps in at first, but then shines on the kelp forests and coral reefs right in front of you, before then shining on your face in your ocean home. Yesterday, in your hunt for treasure, you came across a fleet of ruined ancient Greek ships, and you're itching to continue your exploration. After a quick breakfast of freshly caught tuna wrapped in seaweed, you put on your scuba gear and set out to discover the mysteries of the ocean depths. All of this sounds well and good, but how viable is it to live in the ocean? Studies have been done by government agencies and private individuals to see what it would take for people to dive to the greatest depths of the oceans and to see how long a person can last in an undersea environment. But can we colonize the ocean? Now, while nothing currently exists in the form of massive cities, the technology to live underwater is somewhat available. For starters, there are actually 4 separate ways, 4 different habitats that currently exist to live in the ocean. The first one is the floating habitat, where the biosphere, if you will, literally floats on top of the ocean. Some of these habitats can actually go underwater for a brief period of time, like Aquarius. If I had more time to explain what Aquarius was, then I would do so. Another kind is underwater, but with an access set to the surface, for lack of a better term, pedantic term. Now, currently these actually exist today in the form of recreational hotels, many of which are prohibitively expensive, but the companies that want to do so want to drop the cost down substantially and make it more economical. There's actually a restaurant in, I think it's Spain, I forget the name of it, but it has an undersea lobby, which is very nice. And the key thing to note about these places is that the person does not have to decompress when going down from the surface to the actual living space. And the next one is called semi-autonomous, where a user there's no access chute from the surface. The user literally has to dive into the ocean in order to get to this place. And this isn't able to generate its own fuel or air, but it instead gets it from the surface through some kind of tube or umbilical cord. And currently one commercial recreational place actually exists right now that can be considered a semi-autonomous habitat. It's called Jules Undersea Lodge in Key Largo, Florida. It is the only underwater hotel in the world. The guests have to be trained scuba divers, and the Jules Undersea Lodge actually offers a course in scuba diving for those who are curious and they want to learn. You can stay for 3 hours, which costs $150, or you can stay overnight, which is $675 for one person or $800 for 2 in one of their cramped but cozy rooms. You can even order pizza delivered by Scuba. Now, the last one is called autonomous. These biomes are completely encapsulated beneath the surface. They require their own power, and currently none of those exist right now that are commercially viable. There have been certain research colonies like Conshelf 3, which was built in the 60s, but those have been a mixed bag in terms of overall quality. There have been failures, etc. So as you can imagine, some of these present unique challenges. Seawater has a corrosive effect on most metals, and maintenance has to be done by skilled divers and technicians. But certain metals are also being discovered, like clear acrylic, that are able to resist corrosion. Now, one other thing is power. Currently, the best idea is to harness the power of the tides by attaching a tidal harness to the biome, either underwater or above ground, and use that for power. Another idea that is floated around is hydrothermal energy, where the biome is located near an active volcano, and you would tap into the power of this active undersea volcano. You would also have to generate food. Divers have previously caught food in the past, just from outside. But people can only live so long on algae and kelp before mutiny. So some futurists, such as Philip Pauly, have reserved space for seed banks in their ideal undersea habitats. Finally, a lack of sun exposure results in vitamin D deficiency and paleness. However, in spite of this, there may actually be some health benefits. Researchers from Plymouth University in the UK have discovered that watching fish can actually be quite relaxing, reducing blood pressure and lowering your heart rate. Also, you can imagine you would eat lots of fish, which has some health benefits, such as a reduced risk of type 1 diabetes, a reduced risk of depression, and an increase in the gray matter of the brain, reducing age-related brain deterioration. Now, the ocean is often a neglected part of our planet, but it could soon be ideal living space for the next generation. It could be the next frontier, the next place where explorers dive into and discover all sorts of different creatures, lost treasures, and who knows what else is in there. Thank you.
Thank you.